Hey all, welcome to the v1.6 KubeArmor live stream. So we will be releasing a new feature and a version of KubeArmor in the coming week. We have the maintainers and the developers here with us. We have Aryan Sharma and Ramakant. So let's see what's new in version 1.6 of KubeArmor. We'll go step by step. We also have a demo plan. So uh, if you have any queries while we demo, please put them in the chat box and we'll be sure to address them. On the top right, you will see a QR code that will take you to the KubeArmor repository to follow any updates and to contribute to the project. We welcome you to scan it and be a part of the KubeArmor community. Thank you. Over to you, Aryan. Let us walk through the latest and the greatest features of KubeArmor version 1.6.
Yeah, so hey, good evening, folks. So, as Atharva said, that we are releasing the KubeArmor v1.6 by the end of July. So, this release will be comprising of a lot of new features, and we have also some critical bug fixes and a lot of performance enhancements with this release also. So, in this webinar, I'll be like starting with the features and enhancements what we have done. So at first, like we have the advanced process arguments matching. So with this, why we mean that like we now support a fine-grained enforcement on the process arguments. Like we now have more granular control over the processes and what arguments we are gonna pass, and like we can now control what we need to enforce. So with this, like this is the new policy schema. Like we have a new field called allowed us. Here we will put all the arguments which we need to allow. So let me start with the demo with for this. So here I have deployed a case KubeArmor security policy for this. So here you can see that we need to allow the module random, but we will be blocking all other modules, all other commands related to Python 3.6. So now let's execute the command. So, so let's try with the command. So in sorry, so in the policy we mentioned that we will be allowing only a random module. So we tried to execute PyDoc. It was a permission denied event. We can check for the logs here. And let me try with the 3.6 PyDoc, and let's try to execute the random. It is now able to execute. The other, let's coming on to the next feature. It is the like we have also added the support for KubeArmor installation in Docker as well as systemd mode using KArmor client. Earlier we had to like download the tar zip and then extract it, but now we have like support for Docker mode, and we don't have to run KubeArmor only on Kubernetes. So next will be DNS visibility at pod level. So we have also added the DNS query tracing. So it helps in the domain lookups for workloads. It also helpful in detecting the malicious patterns like domain generation algorithms and some unauthorized control and commands. So let me come up with, let's go around with the demo for this. Okay, I'll be trying for. So here we can see that the data contains the kfunc UDP send message and the domain we are trying to access and where the DNS resolution is happening. So this helps in the observability part for DNS. Now Ramakant will go through further features. Over to you, Ramakant.
Thank you, Arjun. Uh, Let me just share my screen. I hope you can see my browser and
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So before going into the demo, like we have a demo for presets, and so I will go through all of these action items before we go into the demo. So presets, why we need a preset when for certain security controls, like so these security control doesn't follow the schema of path-based rules that Aryan showed you an example where we mentioned what exact process we want to block, what exact so we mentioned the path of that particular process, right? So these pro- presets, so whatever the security control that we are targeting with these presets doesn't follow that convention, so it is not possible to define those security rules using the path based format. So we will see this in detail, how the schema look like and how we can define. And we also added a support for container runtimes using OCI hooks, and this is still a experimental feature because containerd supports OCI hooks using NRI socket, and that is still an experimental project. So but yeah, it is now possible to look for like KubeArmor will communicate using OCI hooks instead of directly communicating with the runtime sockets of CRI. So that reduce the attack surfaces, and some of the improvements that are part of the bug fixes and all. So this TTY information that was already there with the KubeArmor telemetry, but it was just absent, not present with the BPF LSM enforcer. So we added this, and also added some of the network metadata to our KubeArmor relay. So now if a pod trying to communicate with another pod using services, we resolve that IP to that particular service. And also this is a little this was just limited to BPF LSM as well. So with BPF LSM earlier, the full command was not available. Now we have added that. Some of the external tools that we recently added is OpenSearch support. So we already support Elasticsearch as an adapter with KubeArmor Relay, but now we have also added OpenSearch. So if a user is using OpenSearch for log analytics, then they can do so. And we also added a Grafana plugin that can be used to visualize the alerts. and you we support recently added support to process graphs. So now whole process graph will be can be viewed, and also like we recently added this image scanning in our CI workflow. So now when we release our images, so we scan that for vulnerability. And so yeah, vulnerability management has been handled with this addition. Some of the bug fixes, and few of them we can see that these are very important. There were some memory leaks, and when so it was only uh, observed when we deploy KubeArmor in AKS cluster. So we look for that, and now like previously we were on REST API clients that were introducing this memory leak, but now we have switched to using Kubernetes informers for getting the pod and node details. So this resolved this issue for us. And also there was a small issue when the recommend policies were disabled by by a bug. Due to a bug, the policies were not deleted. So now that has been fixed. Also, this was an important bug that we fixed. Like we added this feature in our previous release 1.5, but the issue was the policies was not enforceable if user created a new namespace and then deploy pods in that. So this is an important bug that we have fixed with this. Also, like this one is some like with the or CRI handlers, and also like this is an issue with our hem chart now. So this was just a small bug that toleration was not complying with the existing, like with the data type. So this has been fixed. And also we added filters to a KubeArmor profile. So now user can filter the profile using namespace, pod, and containers. This is also some like a very minor fix when we show the PIDs of the processes. So if it access to a particular number, then the PID was showing in an E notation. Now that has been fixed. Some improvements to our uh, hem charts and the way we deploy KubeArmor. Also, like this is a breaking change, but this feature was added in v1.5, and so only the thing is that now the action has been added to as per preset basis. So now previously it was like the action was global, so we were not able to define the presets in one policy. So now that has been fixed. Some documentation we updated, and yeah, we also improved our contributors guidelines documents. I will jump to the demo for presets. Let me know if you can see my terminal.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this is the first preset rule that we will be talking about. So this one is to protect env is something that environment variable should be protected, right? The environment variable uh, sig- carries sensitive assets when we deploy or applications in the Kubernetes or any other deployment model, right? So or deployment may be carrying credentials, or like by default all the external managers, right? They patch the secrets using the environment variable itself. So this preset ensure that none of the process should be allowed to access the environment variable of some other processes. So this is a KSP that has been already applied. I'm starting a KubeArmor alert session. What I will try to do is I will try to access environment variable of some other process. First, let's check if I am able to access my own this process's own environment variable. So I can access my cat is the process and it's able to read its own environment variable using the prop file system. But let's just I try to read some other processes, and as expected, permission denied here. So I'm not able to access the environment variable here, right? 29 is some other processes. So this is what alert that KubeArmor gives me, what container ID, what pod was involved, and jumping on to the next one, which is cube exec. Exec preset is nothing but now we with KubeArmor we are able to detect all the exec events that are part of external execution like Docker exec or kubectl exec, and we can enforce on top of that. So if I execute anything here, so I exec in this particular pod, and now KubeArmor is giving me alert. As the action is audit, I am able to execute anything here, but KubeArmor will provide me alert. Similarly, if this action is set to block, KubeArmor will block that execution. And one important information that we have added with this preset is now, and it is not just limited to the preset but also in general with the KubeArmor telemetry. So for any exec event we will have this information, and this exec id is unique to per exec session. So if there are multiple execution session, this we can differentiate between that in what session what executed. So this is a very important addition to our telemetry. Next is fileless exec. So it is it prevents the malware execution that execute some binary by targeting some other process and execute the payload in that target process's memory itself. So it will not be detected by system calls like execv. If we are monitoring, we have our observability engine that traces those system calls for us, we will not be able to detect these kind of attacks. So this workload already have a malicious payload. What it does is this ls.py. ls.py is nothing but it execute ls binary. So and but what it does, it execute in from the memory itself. So KubeArmor detected even though the process was executed from the memory, uh, not from a binary executable, and this provided resource information that process was part of memory execution. It was mapped to some memfd of some other process, and we got permission denied. We are not able to execute this. Similarly, for any preset, block and audit is the valid action. Jumping to the next preset, which is protect probe, it is more constructive preset of protect env, which is just protect a particular path, which is PID environ, that carries the environment variable of a process. But with this preset, what it does is we already see that there was some access to the proc file system, and those were denied, permission denied. So if I try to execute proc, procfs of any other process, that should not be allowed if this preset is enforcing. But I should be able, like a process should be able to execute, like should have access to its own profile system, correct? That's it on demos end. And I will, like we have a few announcements. I will request Atharva
Yeah.
to, yeah,
Yeah.
over to you.
Yes. Thank you guys for an amazing demo. We definitely have quite a lot of features here. I would like to make three announcements. One is that KubeArmor is actively going to participate in LFX mentorship for 2025. So if you are a mentee or you want to contribute to CNCF projects in any sort of way, we welcome you to do that. Currently, I'm going to flash three links on your screen. So you see the KubeArmor repo QR code on the top right, right? So you can go there and take a look at the contributors guidelines, set the project up on your local systems, experiment with it. I am also flashing a link on the screen. This is where you can join the CNCF Slack. We all three of us are active there. We welcome your queries in case you face any difficulties contributing to the project, or you have already adopted the project but want to showcase a use case and so on. We welcome you to do that. For the LFX mentorship, we will give you an idea of what that will be about. So we recommend you that you have like at least a little bit of skills in Go, Prometheus, and Kubernetes, because it will be about observability, and we are going to increase some observability metrics, like Prometheus metrics related to KubeArmor's policy enforcement, right? So stay tuned. Do star our repository on GitHub, and stay engaged with our Slack CNCF community to get the most out of this opportunity. We will have Rishabh, Aryan, Ramakant, and Barun as your mentors. So yeah, so good luck on that, and applications will open for you starting next week. See you there. If any of you have any further questions, we have our community call in about 5 minutes. For that community call in the GitHub README from the QR code on the top right. Thank you for joining in this webinar. It was amazing to host you, and see you there. Discuss with us if you have any further questions, and have a good day ahead. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank
folks.
you, everyone.